We are Lagos Talks 91.3.
Let's talk. So the thing is, currently, based off of what the analysts did say, saying that because we know what's been going on with COVID-19, how it's affected our economy drastically. So there is a revenue drain right now.
That they bought how many cars in the Senate?
And then, well, that's another.
No, I mean this.
And then we need to finance our budget, but we don't have enough money for that. Now, currently, what is the best next step for the government right now? So because they're saying that the IMF and the World Bank, they have put out these these expectations of our government.
But people say that when we say that the West have a hand in the suffering of African people, people say no, they don't have a hand. So what is this World Bank and IMF story that is coming? But now let me just say, if we can't fund our budget, Nigerians, have you asked what is our budget for? Our budget is for taking care of our government officials. 74% recurrent expenditure, not capital expenditure. That is 74% of the budget that they say they cannot finance is to take care of politicians and their family. Do you understand what these people are saying to us? That we are paying for them to be able to take care of themselves and their family. Have you heard that this government has sat down before they make this kind of policy? Have they sat down to say we want to reduce recurrent expenditure? Let's just first start from our side. This government, due to COVID-19, we are going to reduce recurrent expenditure to 40% in this country. It's like this country is working for a few people in the Senate and House of Assemblies, few ministers. 74%. What are they saying? When you hear this budget shortfall that they're talking about, you think, oh, they have all these amazing things that they want to do for the people, you know. But all you have to remember is 74% is recurrent expenditure. Finish. That means our politicians sit down in this country and they gobble up 74% of our national commonwealth.
All right, that's very alarming.
You know, it's true, but that's where the largesse comes from. That's why they are giving all this. That's why everybody is coming out to support. They want the status quo to continue, and it will not continue.
Well, let's hope not. And you know what? With this particular story, especially with petroleum, anything that has to do with petroleum, there are so many complexities. Especially because we know that our economy right now, to some extent, depends heavily on this, and we know that there is going to be a multiplier effect or a domino effect when anything happens with the price of petroleum. I've mentioned this before, saying that now that the prices have been hiked, of course, it's going to affect the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. It's going to reduce the quality of life for the average Nigerian. Access to your basic amenities will definitely be extremely difficult, which will eventually lead to life expectancy reducing. Already we have life expectancy as about 54. And only God knows what will happen maybe come next year if they carry out their research. But we're going to have to highlight certain things, because currently, just taking a look at some of the merits based off of what these financial analysts have said, saying that the government currently cannot afford to finance its budget, and for the government to in the long run enable our economy for the people, they would have to take out monies from the subsidy, because it's going to help them save up to 1.something trillion naira, and from that amount of money they're saying that they would be able
74% recurrent expenditure.
From that amount of money they would be able to finance the infrastructure, to also affect on the unemployment rate, to also affect the ease of doing business, which will in the long run affect our economy. However, in the short run, we know that the average Nigerian is going to bear the brunt of it. Now, some reservations. The truth is, based off of this thing called subsidy removal, it's not just a Nigerian thing. Other countries have done this, and it has been beneficial for them in the long run. However, I feel like our current situation is not necessarily the question of is subsidy removal good or bad, because just taking a look at an in-depth financial analysis, it is a good thing. However, what I believe our preservations are the timing, the sequence of these things being put in place, and the lack of trust in government. Because like we did mention right now with what's going on with COVID-19, with Nigeria being the present poverty capital of the world, with us at the moment being at one of the highest points of unemployment currently, and with all that's going on in Nigeria, this is the worst timing for that. Now, with the sequencing of it, if at all this government and other governments before were trustworthy enough, if they were adept to doing their jobs, there's specific actions that ought to have been put in place that would have helped us cushion the effect of what's going on with the subsidy removal. For example,
subsidies
if at all,
are not bad. there's nowhere in this world where subsidies are bad except in Nigeria. In America is heavily subsidized. I mean, America subsidizes every of its major industries. The problem we have are unpatriotic rich people that will now take this subsidy, instead of using it for what it's supposed to be, start to use it to defraud the people, and nobody holds them accountable. See, this is the problem. The subsidy is not the problem. It is the people taking advantage of it that's the problem, and the government enabling these people to continue to take advantage. We cannot continue to blame ourselves. And where the blame is clear. The people doing the wrong things is clear. This government, any government that has been previously or currently going in this country, they've not cared about the people. Everybody is in cahoots. We all have to admit that. So I don't want us to be making excuses, that have been played out.
We know that the government is corrupt, okay? And there's
the marketers too are corrupt.
Fantastic. Now, for a lot of these changes to be done, because we know if we want to talk about what the government should do or how better the government should act, we probably might make a difference come the next elections. But right now, the government is the government currently. The president is the president. What should happen, as opposed to us, because we have highlighted there's so many demerits. We know that there's corruption. What is the best next step to do? Because right now they're saying for the IMF to lend us money, for the World Bank to lend us money, these are the requirements.
Why are they going to lend money in the first place? Why not galvanize the poor and working class people of this country to build this country? Developing this country is what we need, not loans. And Nigerian people can develop Nigeria. We have the knowledge, we have the resources. We just need the government with the spirit, the capacity, the drive to utilize all these potentials. Is it because this is 2020? We are building roads everywhere. We're building roads. I'm seeing white people there supervising African people. This is 2020. We can't see. Frantz Fanon said, no matter how beautiful a highway is that the government has built in the middle of a community, if the people of that community do not know how to build that road themselves, then that road does not exist. And that is what happens in this country. So, all our roads don't really exist. When we need them, patching, breaking, patching.
Well, sadly.
So that's the problem.
Okay, so currently, now that the government has officially stated we don't have the money, how do they carry out this development?
But they themselves are not interested in carrying out development. See, let me tell you something. Any development government carries out in this country is to assist the business elite in carrying out business, not assisting the Nigerian people to live their lives. The roads they build are not good for humans. It's for transporting their goods. The only reason why we have internet is because their businesses need internet to communicate with businesses in the world. As in anything that has been done in this country, the rail they are still building, not still to the port is facing. I mean, it's facing out, shipping all of our things out. Still the same blueprint of our colonial masters that they've used to create a Nigeria. Because Nigeria, we have to agree that Nigeria was created by someone. And when they were creating it, they did not invite any African person to the meeting to decide. The people that created Nigeria created it for something. And that thing is this: Nigeria was created to exploit the resources and the labor of the people trapped within it. And since that time till now, none of these our elites have decided to do the hard work that is needed to break down that configuration, to turn Nigeria into a machine that, instead of exploiting the people, is trying to help develop the people. That is what is missing here. And nobody has that drive. So when they tell me I'm coming, so when they say, oh, we cannot fund our budget, To me, this is something that shows that the people of Nigeria and the ruling elite of Nigeria are divided completely. There's a disparity, that they rather go abroad to beg for money than go 10 kilometers and hold town hall meetings with their people.
Okay, so Seun, what can be done right now? Because currently we can't take the government out. The government is the government. And at the moment, these decisions have been made. Moving forward, what can really happen right now?
When they did it in 2012, the people resisted. And I'm advocating that there's even more resistance this time against such a thing due to the period that this is happening. Due to the period that this is happening, how much do they even pay us in Nigeria for them to be? You increase fuel, you increase light, you increase VAT, you increase transportation, you have increased food, everything. The price of internet, banking services, the price of everything in Nigeria has gone up. Guess what has not gone up? Salary. I'm even saying we don't want to protest for subsidy. So we Nigerians, we want to protest for maximum wage. This is what we should protest about in this country. What is minimum wage?
So you reckon that a protest should be underway?
I reckon that a resistance, mass resistance, mass movement.
When you say resistance, what do you mean? Because you have to be clear.
No, I mean,
what do you mean by a mass resistance?
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and a protest?
A mass movement and a mass resistance is something that is highly coordinated to bring about effective change from the people, from within the people. You understand? A protest is mass movement trying to bring about effective change from within the government. So you are protesting to a government that you believe cares and loves you, that when you protest and they see you crying on the streets, they will feel a pain in their hearts. Say, oh, my children are crying. And they'll come out and they say, sorry, what did you do to make you cry, my child? Say, you're Chris, oh, don't go home, we'll reduce it. But that's not the kind of government we have here. You know, so we gonna need to be organizing on our own because we need a pro-people policy government. We just need it. We're tired. I'm sorry, because in 2012, I sat with many of these politicians that are in APC today when they were giving 101 different reasons why subsidy is not bad and why subsidy should never be removed and why it's, in fact, the point about the marketers is from a politician. I heard it that the problem is not the subsidy, it's the way the marketers take advantage of the subsidy. So where is the prosecution of that? What is going on? So why do we always put the cart before the horse in Nigeria?
But now the government is saying that they're now going to act as a watchdog to ensure that the marketers do not exploit the people with the hiking of the prices. You
mean marketers that could exploit the government and the government could not do anything? Now they want to be watchdog of those people over. Well, I mean, when are we going to stop allowing this? We are grown. I'm 37 now. I'll be 38 in a few months. You know, when my father was saying these things, I believe that I will not grow up. But we're all grown up now, and we still believe in this. I mean, how long do we want to have them recycling these lies, regurgitating these lies that they've been saying since the days of our great-grandfathers?
Just quickly move on from this, because honestly speaking, I feel like everything just points towards corruption and bad governance. And we need to figure out, before the next time we have to go out there to vote for the right people in government, we need to figure out what to do.
What is wrong with our refinery? What is wrong? Why is Nigeria like this? What is wrong with our refinery? Nigerian big men, Nigerian professors in the university. If I was an engineer in Nigeria, I would have gone online to call on all other petrochemical engineers that we want to march to our refineries and fix them. For the government, since the government cannot do it.
Let's get some calls. If you want to join the conversation, like we mentioned, today's episode is going to be explosive. So if you want to join the conversation, please feel free to do that. You can get it on Twitter at LagosFox913 using the hashtag #TheDishLagos. Or rather, sorry, The People's Perspective. I'm so used to The Dish Lagos. So use the hashtag The People's Perspective, is The People's Perspective, not The Dish Lagos yet. Ensure that if you want to send a WhatsApp message, you send it to the line 0809-234-5913, or if you want to call, you can call 0809-222-0913, 0809-234-5913. What is your perspective based off of the analysis coming from financial analysts, and based off of what Seun is saying, as well as regards the merits and the demerits of the current removal of the petrol subsidy? What are your thoughts, Lagos folks?
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Who's speaking?
Good morning. Well done, and good morning to Mr. Femi Kuti.
Mr. Femi is my father, is my brother.
Is his brother.
My name is Seun.
I won't say that, you are doing what the generation that has spoiled this country, that generation has spoiled this country for us. You're taking up their account and doing it. I look at it today when you hear a man of 50, 60 years old, let's even 50, 60, telling you that you guys have to fix your country. I say, in your own time, what did you do?
No, just let me ask them next time, my brother. Ask them that they should show you a country that youth built. They should show you one country in this world that youth built.
Thank you very much. That's why I said, what you are
irresponsible
doing,
people.
I mean, you might not. Let me just say that people that do. Yeah, Yoruba. I don't know if you understand Yoruba.
I'm a boy Yoruba, Dada.
Me, I don't go Yoruba. Speak English.
I'll teach you if you come for private lesson.
I'm telling you, if you see, let me tell you something.
Okay.
Those generations they feel us. Trust me, there's nothing to do about it. There's nothing, no argument, nothing to talk about. Even today, when they say that, okay, leader, you are leader of tomorrow, everybody knows that no use is no leader of tomorrow. You know that see the leader of tomorrow because they are still there and they are not going to lose. Not anytime soon. They will say you are not knowledgeable. Let me tell you, I tell people, I say, even the vast system of education in Nigeria today, I don't want to believe it's a coincidence. I want to believe it's a plan. Because when you lack education, when you lack knowledge, they will not put you in a position of power. They will tell you don't know how to do it. You don't understand. You don't know. You have no history. What do you know? When you don't know, what do you give? So to me, these are all the master plans. They are just carrying out effectively and being guided by the interest of the few, like the 80-20. The 20 and the 80. The 20 that decide, where the 80 that suffer it,
All right, thank you very much for your take. Lagos Talks. Good morning. Who's speaking, please?
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's your name?
My name is Seun.
All right, very quickly, let's hear you.
Yeah, that is what Seun was saying. I just can't say much to that, and I'm speechless. It's the same thing Kono is saying, the same thing Jimmy is saying, and the same thing most reasonable people are saying. If there is no collectiveness among the youth, this country can move forward.
All right, thank you very much for your take. Lagos Talks. Okay, we lost that one. Keep your calls coming through as well as your tweets. Remember, it is at Lagos Talks 913. And if you're going to use the hashtag The People's Perspective. Please ensure you could do that. This is coming from Kamal saying Seun is careful not to use the word revolution. He keeps dancing around resistance.
I have the Niger resistance movement.
Okay.
And you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand, revolution doesn't start from the people. The people resist. The resistance is what starts from the people. When the people resist, then the government strikes them down. That is what it is the response of tyranny that creates revolution.
All right.
The people can only resist.
Okay.
It is the response of tyranny that creates revolution.
This is coming from Uchenna saying, good morning, Oga Seun. God bless you for sticking to your position of the populace. Please, when are we hitting the streets? He's asking that. This is from Adigboyega saying, the new policies that are introduced recently by PMB will not affect people around him, will not affect his family, and will not affect his associates. The burden is on the poor masses, and we are smiling and suffering. Kolawole is saying, as shocking and blunt as Seun may sound, he's saying the honest truth. Seun, your voice will never cease. Keep speaking our minds. We are with you.
And Ify, you know what I mean? They'll come and carry. It's me and Ify.
I'm sorry, where's Ify? Who is that?
My co-host.
This is going
When they look your face inside celebrity, I need feedback.
What? Please.
Ify, are you there?
This is from Patrick saying, I know Seun is going the right way. What is wrong with our refineries, and why is Nigeria's subsidy different from the rest of the world? Interesting question. What are your thoughts about some analysts saying that the rest of the world subsidizes production as opposed to consumption?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that we have the elites refuse to produce. So our government is actually funding production in another country, which is consumption in our country, which is so weird. Because if little countries like Niger can be building refineries in 6 months and operating them, what excuses do we have? We're one of the biggest oil exporting countries.
All right, Seun, we need to move on quickly to another story.
Before we go, people are saying like protest October. You don't have to wait till October 1st to protest. As I said, we have to resist this. There are so many ways. Me, as from today, I've stopped buying imported petrol. No more. Before I was doing this one, I would go to NNPC. Sometimes I'll be tired. I'll not go to Mobi. Now only NNPC. I'm not even playing. I'm not buying it anymore. I'm not buying imported petrol. And once a week in my house, I'm offing their lights, all their lights, once a week. put off all these their expensive lights. Let them know that Nigerians too are beginning to wake up. We can use the power of boycotts. You know, people don't want to tell you about boycotts. Boycott is one of the strongest weapons in the hands of the Nigerian people that will never ever utilize. People will be harming us with their business and will be going there to still patronize them. No! We will take the hardship. We just let them know. For these 2 days, we will let you know Nigerians are united and we'll off our lights. So that the next one is 1 month. We are going to off it if you don't reduce this tariff. See if they don't do it.
Now speaking about,
and you don't even have to leave your house.
Speaking about tariffs, let's quickly move on to the electricity tariff. We're going to touch on this lightly before we move on to the doctor's strike. So the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission did approve an increase in electricity tariff, which went into effect from the 1st of September. Now, of course, this came 3 months after the tariff hike implementation slated for the 1st of July was halted by the National Assembly, which prevailed on the distribution companies to shelf the date to the first quarter of 2021 due to the current economic challenges in Nigeria. Now, the NERC's document did explain that electricity customers, except those receiving less than 12 hours of supply, would have to pay more for electricity starting from the 1st of September. Now, the new tariff is based on the hours of electricity supply available to the customers. Customers are categorized into maximum demand and non-maximum demand customers, as against the previous categories of residential, commercial, and industrial customers with different brands A to E, depending on the level of supply. Now, for instance, Ikeja Electric,
my company,
a residential customer on single phase receiving a minimum of 12 hours of supply will now pay 42.73 naira per kilowatts, up from 21.3 naira per kilowatts. For Eco Electricity,
that is over 1% of the person's salary. 1%, over 1% of minimum wage per kilowatt.
And for Eco Electricity Distribution Company, a residential customer on single phase receiving a minimum of 12 hours of supply will now pay 43 naira per kilowatt,
big boys,
up from 24 naira per kilowatt.
Island way.
And the list goes on and on and on. But just to save time, it said that the discos would only be allowed to charge those customers the new tariffs upon investment that improve the quality of service experience, saying that the migrating customers to higher service bands or another order of the commission. And so, Seun, with this new move coming from the government, and they're saying also that this would only get into effect when the discos invest in the improvement in the quality of service. So do you think that this makes it any better, even if, like you did mention,
I'm offing my light once a week? I don't even see, once a week I'm offing my light. See, I just can't. I have to be resisting them. Nigerians, we have to just let these rich people know that they don't have the power anymore. We are awake now. We are not our parents. We are not those people that will let them put our face on the ground. And we are not our parents. These people have to know that. They have to know. They just really have to know it. You know, we need to start resisting. People are looking for protests to go. You don't need to wait for Showore to go on the streets to tell you to protest, or Seun. You know what you are doing to you is wrong. Off the light. Don't buy their petrol. If we can unite in our own interest for a change. Okay, look at people now. When marketers want to put pressure on this government, what do? They cut out petrol. We begin to queue in their filling stations. They use our queues, our suffering in the filling station, to go and negotiate with government. Like, look at the people who are suffering. If you don't come and give us, look at people queuing. We will be shouting, government, we are tired. Because of that, government will increase price or do whatever the marketers want. Queues will disappear. So for our own benefit, can't we all be queuing in NNPC filling station and abandon all these marketers with their petrol first? If they don't know that they are part of a country with a social contract, abandon all these owners of electricity first. We are part of a country with a social contract, and they are tearing this contract to shreds, to complete shreds. I mean, where is their own? Okay, we continue to sacrifice for the country, right? Nigerians, sacrifice so that things can be better. Nigerians, go through more hardship so that things can be better. What is the meaning of this things can be better? Does it mean things can be better so that things can be better for our rich? Is that what they are trying to say? Because I don't understand. Things can be better, but who is stopping rich people in this country from moving their profits out? Are we forcing them to make sure that those profits that come through the hardship of Nigerian people must be reinvested in Nigeria? No. Okay. They all invest their money abroad. Even Dangote said it in Bloomberg what was the date of the interview? I've forgotten. I had the date. He said in his Bloomberg interview. I have a copy of the interview because I read it when I'm angry. Just to be sure that, man. He said he keeps 60% of his family, of his wealth abroad because the naira is too volatile and he has to save something for his family. 60% of his profits go abroad, people. That does not mean 40% is here. He said 60% goes to the West. That means America, Europe. So that means even this 40%, we are not sure it's only in Nigeria, Dubai. Never talk about Dubai, all these other places. So what better tomorrow are we saving for?
Just to go back a little bit on you talking about other ways to protest, like the boycott, right? You're saying once in a while you're going to turn off the electricity because they usually say if you want to get people's attention, you hit them where it hurts.
Yes,
their pocket,
their
right?
pockets.
So if from Nigerians that are listening, especially with the deplorable state of our economy and how poverty has really eaten the fabric of society, do you think that the people can afford to make such a sacrifice, knowing that there's a possibility that if we turn that light off, for instance, it means that my business will not move for that day? It means that if I am a daily wage earner, that my kids may not eat for that day. Do you think that the people can afford to do that?
Well, many people that are daily wage earners already are living in darkness most of the time on behalf of someone else. So all I'm saying is you are suffering already. I'm not trying to tell you there is uhuru, that we are in uhuru. We are suffering. So if we are suffering already, let's start to suffer for ourselves. What I'm trying to tell you is that we are suffering now for the benefit of a few. We are suffering now for the benefit of a few. Nigerian people that we are already used to this suffering, we have to now say, okay, fine. If it's suffer that if people want us to be suffering in this country, we are going to use that suffer to better our own lives. You understand? We are going to go through hardship that benefits us but disadvantages you. Because in this country right now, everything is an advantage to the rich and the powerful, to the detriment of the people. Whatever move that is made, they'll tell you, the elites are going to create jobs. Is it the jobs that are still paying unlivable wages? I mean, let's get to the bottom of this. Lagos will tell you is a progressive state. Why hasn't everybody still fighting to pay 30,000 minimum wage? Why hasn't Lagos State said, oh, we are so progressive, we'll pay you 100,000 naira minimum wage? No, it's only when it comes to taxing. That's when they are progressive. New tax here, new tax there,
so
new tax here.
Let's get to the phone lines quickly. Lagos Talks, good morning. Who's speaking?
Yeah, sure.
Who's speaking?
Olu is my name.
Hello,
Right.
Olu. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah. God bless both of you for this program. God bless you real good. Now,
Thank you.
number one,
Amen.
the situation that we have in this country is now we and them. The politicians and the so-called people that refer to elite people in government and the so-called their syndics in the civil servants, because they do all this evil together. They are the ones that are making us our problem. Now, my father has a borehole in Magodo. Anytime this man wants to, there's any servicing or anything on his borehole, there's enough water for the people in the building to use, even though the people in the outside world will not get water to come and fetch. Nigeria is producing oil, and it is difficult for us to refine this oil. That is a scam. That's that's what I'll say about that. Two, for in this protest and all these things, you realize at the end of the day, if they will ask soldiers, police to come out and be flogging, and those who did not know that we are fighting because for them. Because if you go down to their hotels or what do they?
Their barracks.
Barracks. The place is in shambles. One TV station wanted to do a report on it. They kill it. They don't allow it to be heard. In fact, if it is possible, if the energy will be merged together to make sure that these things did not work, let us do it.
All right, thank you very much for your take. Remember, you can send a WhatsApp message to 080923459113. This is coming from Political therapist saying all humans are the same everywhere, but the difference between us and the developed nation is enforcement of the law. This is coming from Ali saying, hello Ify, what my brother is saying over there is the gospel truth with a youthful spirit. God bless him. Please Ify, I will never believe Nigeria will get it right unless we cut out our expenses like the one of these senators. This is coming from Shagun saying, good morning Ify and the Big Bird. The Big Bird is always on fire and on point, and I love listening to him. I love your show Ify. Thank you very much for that. This is coming from a listener saying, he's saying, Ify, good morning. Please tell Seun to think of coming out for president's position from 2023. We will gladly vote for him.
That's what people told Showore too in 2015. I don't trust you. In 2019, sorry, I mean, you don't be last year.
This is coming from a listener saying, is Nigeria not a joke? Do we need Seun to remind Nigerians to do the right thing? Do we need Fela to remind us to do the right thing? I've realized that the biggest problem in Nigeria are the docile citizens and not even the government. This is coming from a listener saying, also Andrew saying, I want to talk about, okay, well, this is not part of the conversation. This is coming from Jonah saying, plenty basketballs, breaking all the tables. I beg, talking about Seun, of course. All right, on Twitter, let's get here. This is coming from Kalawale saying a shocking. Okay, so I've read this already. Mudashiru is saying Seun always reminds me that the biggest lie sold to youth is that we are the leaders of tomorrow. Kamal is saying I agree with Seun on this issue of boycott. I buy petrol only at NNPC. This is coming from Salam saying Seun always on point. Kalawale is saying, Seun, I agree with the switching off of the light, but it doesn't affect your bill at the end of the month, especially the people using postpaid. This is coming from Femi saying, good morning, Egmont Seun. I think our celebrities and professionals are failing us. Why aren't they talking about public issues? Because they don't want to be marginalized by the government. Simple. All right, it is 11:47. We need to quickly move into the last story for today, talking about the doctors' strike. The National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has explained why it did commence an indefinite strike action. And this strike action was an action that the Minister of Labour and Employment, Ngige, flayed the striking doctors, describing their strike as unwarranted, illegal, and badly timed. The NARD president, Aliyu Shokomba, said the doctors downed tools over the failure of the government to meet some demands of the association made in June. Now, he noted that
just let me chip in here to the Minister of Labour that it is also very inconsiderate of them to not pay the doctors at this time.
Okay. So the NARD president did note that he said, and I quote, we just resumed the suspended strike, and this is at the time when they did resume on Monday. He said, we just resumed the suspended strike, which we embarked in June this year. We suspended the strike to give the government time to assess our concerns. Unfortunately, they failed to do so. Some of the things that they did complain about were the non-payment of hazard allowance, the lack of personal protective equipment, and also for the group insurance as well, amongst other reasons. The NARD president did note that their demands date back to 2017, and all efforts to use dialogue and ultimatums had failed. He spoke about one of the reasons why they did suspend the strike the last time, saying that the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, he did intervene, and even the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, as well, and other Nigerians did intervene, and so they did suspend the strike at a point back in June, saying that they're going to give the government some time to fulfill some of the demands.
Is it these same doctors that you bring somebody to hospital that is dying because you don't have money? You beg, nobody will answer you. They want to strike. Somebody went to beg and he answered. I'm not supporting them again. I don't vex.
Wait.
I don't vex. I don't vex.
Don't vex.
I don't vex.
Wait,
I say I don't vex. So that first strike, now beg the company. Well, so they beg on every day for an hospital. Now in the year. I don't vex.
So he did talk about some things like
I'm on the side now.
The things like the residency training funding, which they hadn't fulfilled yet, the group insurance, saying that most of our members that have died, we want their next of kin to get their deaths in service benefits, and we were told that the insurance companies have been given needed funds to commence the payment, but not a single person had been paid. And so these different demands and grievances he did state.
Yeah.
Now, after a meeting that happened on Wednesday, they came to an agreement. An MOU was signed, and there was a communique that was released that did issue the end of this marathon conciliation meeting that was presided over by the Minister of Labour and some other parties there. And they came to an agreement that the doctors were going to meet with the necessary stakeholders and their members, and they're going to look into if they're going to suspend the strike, which they did. Now they have suspended the strike, and they're giving the government 2 weeks to see if the government will fulfill these different demands. Now, some of the things that the government did mention was this. The government mentioned that they have, and there was proof and there was evidence that out of the 8 demands, based off of the last meeting that they had in June, that they have been able to fulfill 6 of the demands, and the 2 were underway, and there was evidence for that already. Right now, talking about the hazard allowance, saying that they wanted them to reassess the 5,000 hazard allowance. Now, the last meeting that they had agreed that after COVID-19 they were going to review that allowance, and the members of the association, they agreed. And so some of the things that the federal government was saying was, but we had this agreement already. Why have you decided to go on strike again?
As I said, when they begged them the first time and they agreed, I don't even know what to say here anymore. For me, the issue with the doctor strike and the government is between an institution and the government that really, if we're going to be honest as Nigerians, don't really care for Nigerian people. Every Nigerian doctor wants to leave Nigeria and go and practice abroad. When sick people get to Nigerian doctor's hospital, what does he do? Say you bring money. If you don't have money, nobody treats you. How do they work in our public hospitals? What kind of care? I go and visit people there. So I don't even know what to say, because there is really, really something in this country, that our elites and political misleaders have sold to us. Professionals, especially those of us that have been able to secure some comfort within this oppressive system, they've sold it to us that it can be your turn. Every doctor sitting in that meeting probably thinks they can be the next minister of health or an aide, or that's how everybody behaves, because I don't see how Nigerian doctors have been practicing under these conditions for all these years quietly. Why would all the professionals in this country, all our professors, all our doctors, all our lawyers, all our accountants, all these great minds we have in this country agreeing to this kind of subpar existence? Why? This is the question we should ask. Why would Nigerian doctors that are brilliant, that go overseas and get things done, that are winning awards in different hospitals all over the world for their brilliance, why do they accept a system that does not fulfill their talents? It is because we have all signed one kind of silent agreement with the oppressor. One day it can be me. That's the only reason why we help them keep this charade going on. Why would people in the banks be happy working in a bank that is milking the people dry? Why would you be happy when that the services the bank is even providing is not matching your own talent? Accountants, lawyers, look at the kind of cases our lawyers are fighting.
Okay, you did mention some of these people being foreign trained, but a lot of our medical practitioners are locally trained.
No, I didn't say foreign trained. They go for foreign
Okay, so some of these people can afford to go abroad, and of course they see that the conditions are different. How about the people that cannot afford to move abroad, and what they have right now is what is being given to them at the moment as regards the poor infrastructure, the poor working conditions, the poor remuneration?
It's not starting in 2020. The healthcare system in this country has been destroyed in SAP. The days of SAP. It was the beginning of the... my uncle was the chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Bekor and Kuti, for a long time. And I saw his exchanges with his association back then, trying to get doctors to rise up. We're at the front line of people's lives, and these people are... But everybody has some kind of interest. I don't understand it. I don't know how they programmed us. It's not even in the education, healthcare sector only.
quickly to just wrap up on this, because we have run out of time so that we can get more calls. Honestly speaking, this particular issue, especially as regards the health sector, is quite complex. You know, on one hand, why are the doctors actually sitting down and accepting the poor condition that is being given to them by the government?
Not now. I'm saying since forever. Why?
And even till today, because it seems like a baton is being handed over from generation to generation. And so, and on that hand, why really is that going on? And then on the other hand, the government, especially, you know, as regards their responsibility for the people, it seems like there's specific things that they keep, failing on as regards the health or public health of Nigerians. First of all, of course, the very poor condition that these doctors and medical practitioners are being given to work within, and also the poor remuneration, and also sitting back and seeing that there are other countries that are outrightly poaching these doctors. Now, research has shown that over 7,000 Nigerian trained doctors are working in the UK. Now, that's only the UK. We've not even factored in Ukraine, Canada.
Over 7,000.
Well, this is based off of what is on record at the moment.
Whose record?
The UK.
Maybe the Nigerians, they did not. I said in the state of New York alone, there are more Nigerian doctors than the whole of Nigeria combined.
That's New York, but based off of what officially has been released by the UK, this is what's going on. But we know that it's much more than that. Okay, so factoring
I think me alone, I know like 7,000 Nigerians that are doing nurse in London.
Factoring in Ukraine, Canada, US, and these other different countries. Why is it Nigeria? Because remember, there's a time where Ngige sat down with Channels News, and they were telling him that there's a mass exodus of health workers, something that is, reminiscent of what happened in the 1990s, where there was a mass exodus of doctors from here to Saudi Arabia. And Ngige said, oh no, we are not lacking doctors.
Yeah,
that the ones that want to go, they can go.
Yeah, because we meet them there when we come for treatment.
and so
he's talking about himself. He said, we the elites, we ministers, we the presidency, we are not lacking doctors. And
I feel like another thing that I find quite disturbing is from the past few strike actions that have been taken by these individuals, because we have to remember that aside from the Hippocratic oath that they have signed, which is to ensure that they're saving lives, which is their major priority, these individuals are mothers and their fathers and their brothers and their sisters. They have their responsibilities, and it's expected that if they want to stand up for what is rightfully theirs, they should be allowed to. But the government keeps on trying to guilt trip them, saying things like it's unwarranted, saying things like it's unfair,
of course,
during this season.
Of course.
And I wonder why the government sees them as superhuman when they know that these individuals have their responsibilities as well.
This is why I said the Nigerian government can only say the doctors are being unfair to a group that that they have some kind of understanding with, because the Nigerian government is nothing but unfair.
That's what I said.
So if the Nigerian government is now telling somebody that, oh, you are unfair, I don't see how that should touch the person. It's like a thief with a noose around his neck about to be hung.
Yeah.
Looking at the crowd and saying, "You're thieves! You're thieves!"
Now, Seun, check this. After the meeting, which is very mind blowing. After the meeting, when they, came to an agreement, and the federal government did prove to them that, listen, we have done most of the things that we promised to do, and the rest are underway, and this is the evidence. Do you know that the president of the NARD, the president of the Nigerian Medical Association, FCT, they apologized to the government, saying, sorry for the misunderstanding. And I believe with the sensitivity of such a thing as health, you shouldn't be too quick to carry out an action when you have not done your due diligence. Because, for instance, now, a lot of people believe that you can make a change only when you go on the streets, which really hasn't been effective for us as Nigerians with protests. But you did mention boycotts and ways that we can resist, bad governance.
One of the main points of the Nigeria resistance movement, which is my own organization for raising consciousness in Nigeria for liberation, is that we need to engage in positive action.
Okay.
Positive action doesn't really mean you are going out on the streets. Positive action means that you are part and parcel of the resistance that is stopping any kind of oppression, not only in your country but in your community. So anything that you can do that you see that, yes, it's going to sabotage those that are sabotaging you. So for me, boycott is the number one. If you're sabotaging me, I'm sabotaging you back. If I want to suffer, let me suffer for myself. Ikeja Disco, they've been stealing my money and making me pay every bill. What did I do? I fought for myself, and now they're the ones calling me. We have to fight for ourselves. Because there's no government to fight for you. There's nobody standing for you. our police and our military don't inspire confidence. So what are we waiting for? Boycott these people. Boycott them. Don't be afraid. Boycott them.
All right, guys.
They will beg us.
It's 2:12. I mentioned that
they need fuel for their private jets. They need money.
An extremely explosive session, which it was, and this and many more you should look forward to on the People's Perspective. We say it as it is, and like Seun mentioned, and some people have mentioned, if they come and pick anybody up, I'm not really sure if they're gonna pick me up, but they'll probably pick Seun up.
They should just pick me up because without you, I'm not entering that set.
I'll be here holding the fort down for you right here on People's Perspective. I probably can be speaking to you maybe.
Yeah, I'll be making phone.
I'll be like,
listen, our show will be highly revolutionary at that moment.
All right, guys, thank you so very much for being a part of this. Remember, the People's Perspective comes on Fridays from 11 a.m. We take on the top stories for the week, dissecting these different stories and seeing things from your perspective. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Seun, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks,
as always.
Thanks for being my co-host, Ify. You make me so happy. And we love you all.
We are Lagos Talks 91.3.
Let's talk.